I'm Amanda Fancy. I'm the dealer owner of Gauss Home Hardware and Furniture. We've been at this location for about a year. We started in 1848, way back when. This is our 5th location, so we've never have left the town limits. So we're looking to build this location. We had lots of opportunity to potentially look at outside of the town limits, but it was really key for us to be and continue to be a growing business in Bridgewater. Bridgewater, Nova Scotia is unique. We have a beautiful countryside. Our town is 7,500 people, but then, our customer reach is about 45,000. So, we're talking about lots of small communities, hidden treasures. There's huge opportunity here, and I think that it's certainly worthwhile to make the visit, make the call, do some inquiring, because it certainly is somewhere where I think there would be some strong investment opportunities for sure.
My name is Joey Richard. I come from Quebec, Montreal. I've studied opera at the Montreal Conservatoire of Music, so this is where I've learned about Italian, the language, and the food. And my passion just became bigger and bigger for food. I've been cooking for 20 years, almost. I opened a family business, but the only thing I forgot is that my family is still in Montreal, so I'm like, I'm trying. I make new friends. I'm building this thing, but it is a family business here. My chef is like my brother. His wife is like my sister. So I recreated a family environment. We do the real recipes, starting from the real ingredients, and for Italian food, what the secret is. Few ingredients and very fresh. So each recipe would be like 3-4 ingredients maximum. But it's just the best ingredients and makes it so delicious. If you think that it's impossible to have your own business, I'm the living proof that it is possible. People want us to thrive. We work together. So everybody helps each other. If you want to be part of a community, it is the community to be part of.
My name is Joel Holland. I'm the owner and operator of Manitou Athletics. I found the opportunity, started this gym in my parents' garage, and now we are currently in an 8,600 square foot facility. A lot of people come here because of the community. The things that we offer here are different than a normal gym. It's an open atmosphere where you come in, the music's played over the loudspeakers, not in your ears. You don't put earbuds in and just walk around from one machine to the other. You focus on yourself, but at the same time you get to meet new people. We have 3 floors, which we do CrossFit, boot camps, athletic training, and personal training. We have so many other businesses that are growing our economy and feeding into it becoming more populated, a place where people actually stay as opposed to leave. We're growing, we're getting bigger, and a lot of people are on the same push to become a better Bridgewater. I love this place. It's my home, and there is no other place that I would want my business to be.
I'm Amanda Fancy. I'm the dealer owner of Gauss Home Hardware and Furniture. We've been at this location for about a year. We started in 1848, way back when. This is our 5th location, so we've never have left the town limits. So when we're looking to build this location, we had lots of opportunity to potentially look at outside of the town limits, but it was really key for us to be and continue to be a growing business in Bridgewater. Bridgewater, Nova Scotia is unique. We have a beautiful countryside. Our town is 7,500 people, but then, our customer reach is about 45,000. So, we're talking about lots of small communities, hidden treasures. There's huge opportunity here, and I think that
Are we good? All right, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. So because the mayor and the deputy and the CEO are all absent tonight, it's my privilege to appoint the chairperson. If I may have a mover and a seconder, please.
I would move that we appoint Andrew Tanner as chairperson for the June 10th, 2024 council meeting.
All right, seconded by Councillor Caldwell. All those in favor? Motion passed unanimously. Mr. Chair.
Phew, unanimously. That's exciting.
I was on the fence.
I would first like to say that the town of Bridgewater is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. With that, we've got the agenda as outlined and presented to you. Any edits, changes? If not, we'll ask for a motion to approve that agenda. Thank you, Councillor McDonald, seconder. Councillor Colwell, any further discussion?
Question?
Question's been called. All in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. Are there any announcements by councillors? Maybe the event that you attended? Sorry.
Yes, I was at the Community Connections event on Saturday representing council, and it was an excellent event, always is. Amazed at the number of people there, especially a lot of newcomers. Great to see people. We also had Talk Bridgewater as part of that, so I was steady the whole time I was there, talking to people. Lots of just talking to people about what was on their mind, and fantastic event. I don't know if we have attendance for the event.
About 300.
About 300 people?
About 300, yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
so it was great.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
I guess just to remind people, if you didn't see it this morning on the morning show, our very own Donna Hatt and Shannon Jodry we're representing the town and an event coming up, the dinner al fresco South Shore. If you're interested in tickets, there are still some available. The dinner's June 15th, 6:30 to 9:30, and you can check out Explore Bridgewater, and there will be links there so you can get your tickets as well.
Lovely. Thank you. All right. If nothing else, moving on. We have, I don't think, any delegations this evening. I know the house is packed, but no delegations. So we're moving on to item number 6.1, community development planning. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. I would like to address the proposed text amendments to the land use bylaw regarding housekeeping amendments. In a letter received from the province on June 6, 2022, it was noted that Nova Scotia is currently phasing out the use of large institutional-style facilities like regional rehabilitation centers and adult residential centers as housing for persons with disabilities. As a result, there is a need to expand the stock of small option homes available across the province, and that small option homes function in the same manner as any single unit dwelling. As per Halifax Regional Municipality, small option homes are defined as a type of community residential placement licensed under the Homes for Special Care Act, and they house 3 or 4 residents with developmental, mental health, and physical disabilities. Residents live independently in community homes and receive support services from staff. Subsequently, in a clarification letter from Department of Municipal Affairs received October 21, 2022 that I showed on the previous page, it was noted that the small option homes typically exist as single unit dwellings but may also exist as other types of dwellings such as duplexes or other conventional housing forms. Based on this, where a type of dwelling is permitted, a small option home of that same type of dwelling is to also be permitted. This applies to all zones that permit residential uses and is not limited to zones classified as residential. And that province encourages municipalities to review their municipal planning strategy and or land use bylaw with the intent to remove any possible exclusionary language or other barriers for small option homes that may currently exist within the planning documents. In this regard, staff have reviewed relevant regulations and associated definitions of the land use bylaw to ensure alignment with the direction received and statements of provincial interest regarding housing and the application to small option homes. So the town currently does not regulate the use of a property and dwelling unit as prescribed by the province. In this, it is the development officer's interpretation that where care is provided per the land use bylaw, the small option home use may be permitted in a dwelling unit for 5 or fewer individuals, excluding a staff whether resident or not, and such unit shall be considered a single unit dwelling. Furthermore, the definition of a single unit dwelling, such that any dwelling containing one dwelling unit and includes a group home, small option home, where it is located within a single unit in a detached dwelling and consists of 5 or fewer individuals, excluding staff, the single unit dwelling must be a detached dwelling. Therefore, the present situation is that where care is provided, a group home or a small option home is not permitted in semi-detached townhouse or multi-unit buildings. Those building units sharing common walls. To enable the use of any type of dwelling unit as a small option home, 3 land use bylaw definitions will require amendments. The first amendment concerns the definition of a dwelling unit based on the provincial letter. This amendment intends to remove the barriers that limit small option homes or group homes to institutional buildings, facilitating private sector sponsorship and maintenance. Consequently, staff recommend that a dwelling unit shall include a small option home where occupancy consists of 5 or fewer individuals. This amendment would permit a small option home in any dwelling type. The second amendment addresses the definition of single unit dwelling through removing the specification that only single detached units are acceptable for group homes. By doing so, this will eliminate the restriction that group homes must be established only in single detached dwellings, allowing them to be established in all types of residential dwellings in line with provincial direction. As the third proposed amendment, staff proposed to include the small option homes to the title of residential care facilities, homes for special care, or group homes. Also, it is proposed to remove the requirement that residential care facilities, group homes, small option homes, and homes for special care must be detached dwelling. A public information meeting was scheduled for April 30 at 6 p.m. in the committee room at Town Hall 1 week prior to PIM. Notification of this meeting regarding the definition amendments related to small option home to the land use bylaw was published in the newspaper and on the town's social media. No one registered for this meeting and staff had to consider this meeting canceled. One of Bridgewater's planning objectives is to manage land use and development in a manner that minimizes conflicts between land uses and aligns with the town's service infrastructure. In accordance with Policy R2, it is Council's policy to control land use and development to minimize such conflicts as stipulated in the land use bylaw. As outlined in the provincial letter, small option homes may function as all dwelling types, but this arrangement, akin to apartments, possess an increased potential for conflicts among residents, as highlighted in the Policy R2 of the municipal planning strategy. By removing the requirement that group homes for special care must be located within detached dwellings, there is the potential for an increase in conflict between neighbors. This change allows homes for special care to be any type of structure, eliminating all the specific requirements regarding the features and types of buildings for these facilities. Present regulation acknowledges that when dwellings share common walls, there is a heightened risk of conflict, which is particularly evident in townhouses and apartments where multiple walls are shared. However, the provincial directive seeks to treat small option homes similarly to other residential accommodations. It emphasizes that individuals residing in small option homes or group homes should experience living conditions akin to those in conventional residential settings, despite the additional care provided to those in need. The intention of the province is to not distinguish between the accommodation in the small option homes and those residing in apartments, townhouses, or cottages, as its goal is for the group homes to be permissible in all types of residential dwellings. The staff have deliberated on the proposed amendments, particularly concerning townhouses and multi-unit residential properties sharing common walls. These units, occasionally designed with limited scale to maintain affordability by restricting bedroom size and number, may potentially exacerbate living conflicts, especially for individuals from more vulnerable demographics requiring special care and attention. On the other hand, based on the Minimum Building Standards Bylaw, Chapter 115, there are standards to support the assumption that there are fewer bedrooms in apartment-style dwelling units. Essentially, if there are fewer bedrooms or less space, there is less potential for impact on abutting units. In conclusion, regardless of the number of individuals requiring care, concerns about shared walls and noise are more prevalent in multi-unit residential buildings, such as townhouses, semi-detached dwellings, and apartments compared to single-unit detached dwellings. And despite these potential conflicts, staff are proposing the amendments to enable small option homes in all types of residential dwellings to be in full alignment and compliance with the provincial directive and the Statement of Provincial Interest on Housing. In this regard, the staff have identified this recommended option for Town Council to approve the proposed amendments to the Land Use Bylaw, including the definition of dwelling unit, single unit dwelling, and home for special care or group home. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any questions for staff? If not, we're looking for a motion. Councillor Thorburn, go ahead.
I would move that Town Council for Town of Bridgewater hereby conduct first reading of bylaw number 213, a bylaw to amend the land use bylaw as contained in Appendix A of document 24-096 to add clarity to the definition of dwelling unit and single unit dwelling, residential care facility, and home for special care group home for alignment with the definition provided by the Nova Scotia Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing in accordance with the Homes for Special Care Act, and to proceed to a public hearing at a regular council meeting on July the 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Colwell, thank you. Any further discussion?
Question?
Question's been called. All in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. All right, 6.2, facade program. We're looking to reinvigorate some more downtown buildings.
Good evening, Council. This report originates with applications for the facade improvement program from the owners of 697/699 King Street and 724 King Street for consideration by Council. The Bridgewater Facade Improvement Program provides Council the opportunity to disperse grants to improve and beautify the public facades of buildings in the downtown business district. Council approved an amount of $25,000 toward the facade improvement program on April 8th, 2024 as part of the 2024-2025 operating budget. The property owners at 2 properties on King Street have made their separate applications to the facade improvement program seeking funding in the total amount of $9,255 for public facade improvements. The first property, 697-699 King Street, includes renovations that began late in the 2023-2024 fiscal year. The 3-story building is located just south of the Empire King Street intersection and is currently authorized as a ground floor commercial with 4 residential units in the upper stories. Application was made on March 17th, 2024. However, given the requirement to complete the project in the same fiscal year, the application was submitted for consideration in the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The applicant's submission includes upgrades to replace the existing parapet as close to original condition as possible. The total value of the proposed facade improvements is estimated to be $8,510. Therefore, the requested amount equals $4,255. Renovations at 764 King Street began in the 2023-2024 fiscal year. The 2-story building is located at the intersection of Victoria and King and is currently authorized as ground floor commercial with 3 apartment units on the upper level. Last fiscal year, the applicant submitted 2 applications permitted as the property is located on a corner lot of Victoria and King Street, which were approved by Council on May 8th, 2023, Motion 23-101. The front facade project was completed within the 2023-2024 fiscal year. However, the side facing Veterans Memorial Bridge failed to be completed within the same fiscal year. Due to the project extending beyond the fiscal year in which it was approved for the funding, the applicant has reapplied for funding consideration within the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The project includes a new side window, 2 basement windows, updated window trim and paint. The total value of the proposed facade improvements is estimated to be $11,147.91. Therefore, the requested facade improvement program grant amount equals $5,000. In accordance with the facade improvement program policy, projects are eligible for up to 50% of cost share assistance for external public facades, up to a maximum amount of $5,000. The staff recommendation is that Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater provide grants to improve and beautify public facades in the downtown business district, specifically for the 2 applications at 697, 699 King Street, for the total of $4,255, and the facade improvement program application at 764 King Street for a total of $5,000.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for Connor? Stacy?
For 697, 699 King, there's no mention of paint. Do you know if the owner plans on painting or finishing painting that building?
I do believe there's an intention. They just wanted to apply for the parapet for the facade improvement program. I did reach out to them for other improvements. As I am aware, they are doing other improvements to the building.
Okay, good.
But they only wanted to apply for the parapet.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Any other questions? If not, we'll need a motion on each of those. Go ahead, Councillor Caldwell.
I move the Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater endorse the recommendation of staff and provide a grant in the amount of $4,255 under the facade program to Kate Hebb for proposed facade improvements to 697 and 699 King Street, Bridgewater, and that disbursement of funds shall be conditional upon the submission of acceptable receipts for all materials, equipment, and labor required to undertake and complete proposed work prior to the end of the fiscal year.
Wonderful. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Anything else?
Question.
Questions been called? All in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. Councillor Cole, would you like to do the second one as well?
Sure. I move that Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater endorse the recommendation of staff and provide a grant in the amount of $5,000 under the facade program to Ann Vissers-Croft and Mackenzie Croft for proposed facade improvements to 764 King Street in Bridgewater, and that disbursement of funds shall be conditional upon the submission of acceptable receipts for all materials, equipment, and labor required to undertake and complete proposed work prior to the end of this fiscal year.
Wonderful. Do we have a seconder on that? There's a trend forming here. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Any further discussion?
Question.
All in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. All right, 6.3, a little shifting of the budget.
That is exactly what we are requesting, is to shift some of the budget that is currently allocated for the flood risk FRIP. So we received some funding for a flood risk work, the first phase of which is complete, but the second phase of which is just not really possible for us to complete at this time, and we've already received an extension to the project to date. So we will reapply for funding when we have the in-house capacity to continue on with that work. From staff's perspective, the really important part was that policy and reassessment of the 2013 flood risk data that we had done. So that's complete. And a high priority of council's right now is the Exit 12A work. And so we would simply like to ask to reallocate the remaining portion of town council's funding for the flood risk project to support the Exit 12A work.
Good. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. Do we have a motion? Thank you, Councillor McDonald.
I move that Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater approve the recommendation from the Community Development Department for the reallocation of the remaining funds budgeted for the 24-25 operating budget for the Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program project activities to support the Community Development Department's cash contribution to an application for funding for a sustainable community business park expansion plan and framework for the Town of Bridgewater's business park at Exit 12A.
Perfect. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Thorburn. Any further discussion or questions on that?
Question.
If not, thank you. All in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. All right, 6.4, some accessibility upgrades. Great stuff. You're staying up.
I am.
Okay,
I'm going to
excellent.
stay up. So this is, we made an application to the Recreation Facility Development Grant, the RFD grant through the province for further accessibility upgrades to the outdoor pool. And so this is requesting that addition to the budget of the $40,000 that we have applied for, so contingent upon successful receipt of the grant. So some of the upgrades include looking to a ramp and submersible wheelchair, things like that to make it easier, wayfinding, contrasting paint so that it's very clear, everything from around the door frames to around the pool to make it very clear where things are and to help people of all abilities to access our pool.
Great stuff. Any questions on that? If not, we'll be looking for a motion. Councillor Gold, go ahead.
I just, to be clear, the grant would cover the entire?
Yeah, so there are, pardon me, I'm recovering. There is already a substantive budget that's been approved by Town Council, and so the work that's being done, we've strategically prioritized things so we can build off the work that Council is already funding to be the town's contribution, and then the additional work would only come with the approval of the grant. So that the total cost of the project includes the work that Council has already funded, and some of that is some painting, some other safety-related upgrades to the pool.
Okay, so not additional.
It's not additional. So that $40,000 proposed from this grant would be $40,000 of funding. And then together between the ongoing upgrades and maintenance budget that's already been approved for the pool within the operational budget, that plus this additional funding would form the full project.
Councillor McDonald.
Is it safe to assume that our accessibility coordinator has been engaged to make sure that we're meeting all the standards?
And if you recall, last year we had, with the accessibility coordinators' support and the support of the Lunenburg Queen Recreation Directors Association, Directors and Coordinators Association, we, short form LQ, that organization of the rec directors funded 2 accessibility audits of 2 different facilities, and the outdoor pool was one of those. So our accessibility coordinator has reviewed, helped us to prioritize, and it was that list of priorities that led us to making this application.
Great, thanks.
Excellent. No further questions. Would someone like to put forward a motion? Councillor Colwell.
I move the town council for the town of Bridgewater approve the requested increase in the 2024-25 operating budget for accessibility improvements to the O'Regan Subaru outdoor pool of $40,000 pending confirmation of recreation facility development grant approval of an equal amount.
All right. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McDonald, thank you. Any further discussion on that?
Question.
Question's been called. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. Good. So hopefully we get that money. Skipping down to number 8, 8.1, correspondence for action. Submission of some paving priorities. We have a guarantee these are all going to be done, right?
That's a tough question to ask me, really. Thank you very much. So most of us are probably aware of the renegotiation of the service exchange agreement, which included this year a new program for cost sharing of paving of roads, mainly the trunks and routes that extend through Bridgewater from the neighboring municipality. So with that program, it's suspected to be a 5-year program. The value of the program for this year is $12.2 million. The correspondence received has asked staff and council to evaluate which roads and prioritize those roads for an application this year. Staff have verified this is similar to, if some of us are familiar with the J-Class road program, in which municipalities would submit a road list annually so that they can be vetted and then they would be approved for funding and then proceed with the work. The difference here would be the town would be responsible to tender that work and the funding would come with it from the province. So it's a little bit the same but a little different. The onus is on us to make sure that work gets done. Staff have reviewed the preliminary list of roads that were assessed last October and then this year. So we've selected 3 roads in priority would be Aberdeen from Miller to Chapel, about 0.4 of a kilometer, 2 lanes. King Street from Eisenhower to Brown, it's about 70 meters of road that we're doing currently right now in some pavement management. And then LaHave Street, Old Bridge to Davison, about 0.12 kilometers. The reason why we selected those is they were already on a preliminary list. We weren't aware at the time of doing the preliminary assessment that this would be something that would be issued this year. So, as I said, we reached out to the Department of Transportation or Nova Scotia Department of Public Works to verify that it is an annual program. We have the opportunity to reassess or reprioritize our road list every year. And so staff are already thinking about what roads should be on the list next year, mainly for larger requests. So we're just, staff are looking for your approval of the selected roads.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Cole.
How do you determine a dollar amount to submit? Because I assume we could submit much more.
Staff have kind of a quantity Excel spreadsheet for our roads at this point for pavement management specifically. So in preparation of our pavement management preliminary list with our budget this year of $600,000, we use those budget numbers from a staff spreadsheet that we've been developing for years.
Good.
Yeah, these amounts are not in our current budget?
These amounts are, so as part of the $600,000 for pavement management, they're included in there. So staff had a preliminary list to work with. We are still currently assessing roads mainly for future years as well. But these figures are in this year's budget. I will put a small caveat in that. The plan for Aberdeen was only to do one side this year.
Sure.
But because of this program being available, we said, well, we might as well do both sides.
Cool.
Just to make our dollars stretch throughout the town.
Yeah, that's about 350,000 or so we were getting this year on those 3 roads.
We only get one road.
Oh, you only get one.
So
Okay.
we
No.
selected the most expensive one as the
Most-
number one priority.
Yeah, that's number one priority.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I understand that completely.
Again, there are roads, which staff are already thinking about years 2, 3, 4, and 5 to look at that, to look at those roads, prioritize almost like a second prioritization. So that way we can maximize funded dollars from this program. But certainly to maximize that this year would take away from the other shortlisted roads. So we're trying to balance things out for this year only.
Yeah, that actually started in 2016, the One Nova Scotia report, and we've taken a long while to get this, what we did, but I'm glad we're getting there. Do you want a motion?
Councillor Cole, do you have a follow-up? No, you should, good, okay, yes, please, thank you.
I would move that town council for the town of Bridgewater direct staff to review and complete the submission for the attached document number 24-100 as part of the Service Exchange 5-year repaving program and submit the following roads in order of priority. Aberdeen, number 1, 2 King Street, 3 LaHave Street, and forward the program to the program administration officer by deadline of June the 21st, 2024.
Great, do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Colwell. Any further questions, discussion? If not, all in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Matt. All right, down to 9.1, endorsement of the MJSB board's decisions. Mr. Flint, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so there's, just pull this document up here. That's okay. Okay, so there's five pieces on this. The first piece is really board authorities, financial spending authorities, moving from 100,000 to 250,000. The second piece is waste management shared services, which is not a great change in scope. The third is information technology shared services, and this is, I think, an awareness of scope requirements. So they're just being more clear on the things that they want to change there, and they're being more explicit on their work plan. So I think that's a good thing. The fourth piece is human resources, and the big takeaway for that is that we're effectively getting almost a full-time employee's worth of support from HR based on the funding model. So again, a good news piece, especially with the arrival of Lynn Wagner. So it's a better sharing arrangement for us, Modal and MJSB on HR. And then the last one is occupational health and safety shared service between the two business units. So really it is budget neutral, and these are just, it's some housekeeping and support pieces that they're looking for from the town.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions on that? Again, the MJSB board has obviously approved this. It's just coming to each council to endorse. So. Can I have a motion if we're good? Thank you, Councilor McDonald.
I'd move that Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater endorse the recommendation of the Municipal Joint Services Board and approve the amended MJSB agreement and the changes to Schedules 1, 2, 3, and 4 as presented in document number 24-095.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councilor Colwell. Any further discussion on that?
Question.
Question's been called. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. 9.2, bit of a buyback agreement adjustment.
Indeed.
There's the superstar.
Yeah.
Not so much,
More
but
CTV.
it certainly is a privilege to be able to step forward and celebrate what we have here.
That's great.
And what's to come, for sure. So tonight you have before you a request for an amendment to a buyback agreement. It was done in conjunction with Daniel Cook. He purchased a piece of property, lot number 101-4 on Glen Allen Road. Would have been February of 2023. He returned to us with a plan to construct a 2-unit dwelling on that property. Our original submission that had been received from him and which informed the buyback agreement was based on a 3 dwelling unit. The request has come to us to review this buyback agreement, requesting that it become amended to reflect a 2-unit and that a 2-month extension to April the 2nd, 2025 be extended to accommodate and build a 2-unit dwelling. That's where we're at with it. He is ready to go. There are constraints tied to that lot fronting on Glen Allen that constricted the ability to accommodate 3 driveways easily and safely with a crosswalk coming in from Etna directly across into that property and a power pole support pole being put in place as well. So made it a bit more complicated. Submission is in currently for consideration, but we've pressed pause, bringing it back to you as council because of the slight change and wanting to ensure that you are comfortable with that and the request for the amendment.
Sounds good. Council has seen this. Any questions? If not, we'll look for a motion. Thank you, Councillor Colwell.
I move the town council for the town of Bridgewater approve the amendments to the buyback agreement with Daniel Cook, owner of lot 101-4, Glen Allen Drive, PID 606-93157, to permit construction of a duplex or 2-unit dwelling from the original agreement for a triplex 3-unit dwelling, with a 2-month extension with a completion date of April 3rd, 2025.
Perfect. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Thorburn. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Happy building. All right, 10.1, pool fee amendments.
So this came forward at the last council meeting with the staff proposal that with the receipt of $30,300 in sponsorship funding from our community partners, that council consider making the pool free for patrons this summer, for the public swims, not for the private rentals. So this is the second consideration of that. That would require a policy change to the fees policy.
Perfect. Any questions? All good news. Someone like to put a motion on the floor? Councillor Thorburn, sorry.
I would move that town council of the town of Bridgewater approve the amendments to policy 89 fees as presented in document number 24-094 with respect to pool fees effective immediately.
Perfect. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Colwell. Sorry, Councillor McDonald, almost. Any further discussion on that? If not,
Question.
Question be called. All those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried. Perfect. Great stuff. 11.1 MJSB PCAP application.
So, this is a motion to support the MJSB's application for a funding grant for PCAP. They have a wastewater treatment piece of equipment called a Fournier press. It was installed some years ago and is in need of an upgrade. The budget for that has been approved by their board. This is cost neutral to the town of Bridgewater. If they get their grant, great. If they don't, they have an operational way to absorb those costs. PCAPs are generally applied for in competition with all of the municipalities, so because we don't have an application from Bridgewater this year, that we want to put all of our weight behind supporting the MJSB application.
Perfect. Any questions on that? If not, Councillor McDonald. Excellent.
Move the town council for the town of Bridgewater support the submission of a regional provincial capital assistance program application submitted by the Municipal Joint Services Board for the septic treatment plant, is it Fournier?
Fournier.
Press channel replacement project for a total project cost of $140,000.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Thorburn. Any further discussion on that?
Question.
Question called. All those in favor? Those against? Motion's carried. I believe that is about it. Not bad. Next meeting is June 10th, 2024. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Thorburn, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Colwell. We are adjourned. Thanks, folks.